all set to continue on. Cool. So with all this being said, I do want to introduce CSTO, who we are here at Castle Square, for again, all the friends and family joining us today. So just a little bit of information about Castle Square. We are an affordable housing nonprofit, and it was founded out of the need to protect the affordable housing here at Castle Square. So the really cool thing about our org that me and Maddie love talking about is that we are founded and led by 2 women of color, and also we have a resident board as well. So just in addition to all the affordable housing work that CSTO does, we do support the communities in transition through educational empowerment programs such as Media Makers. And we have a lot of other awesome programs here at CSTO as well, including Square Roots, shout out to Square Roots, for all the younger folks who join the program, and also Square Tech training program. So very cool programs, also adult programming as well. So just some awesome things going around here at CSTO. So great segue to kind of chat about Media Makers specifically. So we have been doing virtual programming now for officially a year, which is kind of wild to say. But this summer we were operating at a 90% virtual system. So we actually had the opportunity to hang out in person one time for an in-person field trip that one of our interns will talk a little bit more about later. So it was really cool to kind of be moving in that direction, seeing each other a little bit more face to face. So CSTO and Media Makers, of course, has continued to center the needs of our community, and we really just hope to encourage folks to just continue being safe and taking all the necessary precautions to keep one another safe as well. So that's a little bit about our virtual programming, but specifically, again, about Media Makers, what we do, what our interns have been doing for 6 weeks. They are a part of, again, our media production internship. So it's definitely geared towards high school students, definitely ages between 14 and 20. So our interns learn a lot of cool things ranging from graphic design to photography. When we are in person doing in-person programming, we do a little bit of video production as well. And our interns also learn about social media strategies. So they take all those really cool skills and tie it into learning about social issues that impact their communities and create just really awesome, meaningful work that you guys will obviously see within the next hour today. So I will say before I pass it on to our first intern today that programs like this, I think, are just truly amazing. I've personally been a part of them when I was a young person myself, really just providing the space for them to be themselves, a safe space to meet each other, meet other passionate young people, and also just grow themselves, whether that be professionally, personally, or even developing leadership as well. So I do just want to shout out to our interns. It's really been such a fun and lovely experience hanging out with each other for the past 6 weeks. And I just really hope that everyone is walking away today feeling really proud of themselves, feeling confident in their skills and ability to create amazing work. Because again, you guys are going to see it in just a short moment, but they did some really amazing things this summer. So I'll stop talking. I do want to give space to our interns. So I'm going to pass it on to our first intern, Brandon.
Thank you, Maddie and Amanda. So hello, my name is Brandon and I am 16 years old. I lived in Charlestown for 13 years before moving to the Castle Square neighborhood around 3 years ago. I joined the Media Makers program to improve my photography and design skills. So in this program, we worked and learned about social justice and civic engagement. We had workshops that helped interns understand why it is important to be active community members. We learned about the importance of voting in presidential, state, municipal elections. We also learned the difference between primary and general elections, and why it is important to vote in both of these types of elections. And the reason why we should vote in primary elections is because it will allow the candidate you selected to be in the general election. And some people only engage in the presidential elections, but our local government actually impacts our daily life because they are the ones who determine how our city is running. So they are able to improve housing for people, our education, healthcare, public transportation, and many more. So we can start being active community members by voting in the elections when we become of age. And for those who are at 16, we can pre-register to vote to stay ahead of the game and let lawmakers know the power young people hold. And we were asked to create election infographics to share with the Castle Square and Boston community in order to support voters. And in my process of making the infographic, I designed it on Canva. So I started off by using contrasting colors and big bullet words so that it would attract the audience's eye. And my election infographic focused on primary elections and their importance. And once again, primary elections select candidates to be in the general elections where they will then be in office. And speaking of elections, there will be a mayoral election happening this fall. And by voting, your voices and your values will be heard. You can help shape the city. So media makers helped me grow this summer because I have learned new things such as uh, the difference between primary and general elections. And an experience that I will always be proud of in this cycle is how much I have improved in my design skills. Uh, because if I compare my work at the beginning of the cycle, now well, I see huge improvements to it. Now I will pass it on to Enzo.
Thank you, Brandon, for that speech. Hello, everyone. My name is Enzo Palacios. I am a sophomore at Boston Arts Academy, and I am in the visual arts department. I joined the program as a PIC intern, meaning that I applied to the Boston PIC program and they assigned me to the Media Makers program. Boston PIC is a workforce development program for teams that works with local industries and businesses. I was very interested in the quality of work teams could create through complex softwares such as Adobe Photoshop. At first, it was very difficult due to my rigorous past with Adobe. As days went by, the overly positive people that made up my cohort inspired me to do my best and get a hang of the software. Love and affection grew, and I've never been more in love with graphic design. Voting has always been something I refrained from speaking about. I always thought it was rather complicated. Media Makers had an amazing civic engagement course, and I really talked in depth about voting. I learned about the importance of voting and being involved in your community. You can really make an impact by voting. The government is in everyone's lives, our schools and hospitals, parks, and government buildings. One of the many projects the Media Makers gave us was to create a sticker that would inspire and motivate people to go out and vote. I created a very simple sticker with the words vote, it's free. I want people to see that making an impact in your community and even on a larger scale, like the whole country, can be so easy. I chose very simple colors such as red, blue, and white. I was unexpectedly inspired by Bob Dylan and decided to add an image of him to the sticker. Although he is from a different generation than some of the young voters, I still thought it would give people some sense of tranquility. I also decided to use two types of fonts. I used a serif font for the word free so that it would stand out just a little more. This was the best internship I have been a part of, but I feel extremely lucky to have been here and learned the immensity of things I learned. I am very grateful that I got to meet the amazing people that are part of Media Makers. It was a joy coming in the mornings and talking to people who are not only talented, but so down to earth. I will always remember this wonderful experience, and I'm very proud to say I accomplished the goals I had set out for myself at the beginning of the internship. I would like to say I now know my way around Adobe Photoshop after all those times I cried trying to close the application. Thank you, Amanda and Maddie. And now we'll pass it on to Amy.
Thank you, Enzo. Hello, everyone. My name is Amy, and I'm going to be a freshman at college. I joined Media Makers because I found more interest in arts than in science and math, and I want to explore it more. One of the topics we engaged in was the civic engagement course. The course taught us the function of local government and why being an active member in the community matters. Civic engagement is the work and effort that is done to address the issues of the public to improve the community. This includes activities such as voting. Voting is important because it helps address the problems in a community. It's also why it's important to vote for the people who most supports what you believe in. Furthermore, we had a speaker that is involved in civil engagement come and talk to us about her experiences. Beth Huang is the director at the Massachusetts Voter Table. The Voter Table works with community organizations to increase voter turnout and civic leadership in communities of color and working class people in Massachusetts. To participate in the election is a civic duty of the citizens. Most people tend to vote in federal election rather than local elections because it's broadcasted more. All Bostonians should vote this fall because the mayoral election will be deciding who will be putting our beliefs and trust into to lead the city to a brighter future. Finally, I would like to thank Media Makers, which has helped me grow this summer through making friendships and improving my skills in design. I'm proud of the connections and skills I was able to develop here and hoping that I can bring that energy through college and after. Now I will pass it to Betty.
Thank you, Amy. Hello, everyone. My name is Betty Zhao, and I'm a rising junior at Boston Latin Academy. Media Makers was recommended to me by my sister, and I decided to try it out. This is my second cycle in Media Makers, and it has exceeded my expectations in many ways. Today, I'll be talking about the photography course. It is where we learn the basic foundation of photography. A few examples are the different composition styles, the exposure triangle, color grading, and how to use a DSLR camera. Through workshop presentations, demos, and activities, we got to practice our photography skills and develop them. I especially enjoyed the photography scavenger hunt, where we went around our home to take pictures and practice the different composition styles and design principles. One project of the photography course was the cultural photo set project. Using our photography principles and design skills that we learned, we had to create a photo set collage that included 3 photos that represent our culture. For my cultural photo set, I wanted to make my photos look like they were in an art museum / gallery. So my background has a lot of neutral tones, and I added frames around my photos. I made sure to include the different composition styles that when taking my pictures, such as negative space, balance, and lighting. In order to show my Chinese heritage, I decided to take pictures of a noodle dish, Chinese couplets, and a jade necklace. My mom cooks a lot of noodle dishes, and noodles in Chinese culture symbolizes longevity for a healthy life. I wanted to include the Chinese couplets because most Chinese households have it pasted on their walls. It's meant to bring good luck, happiness, fortune, etc. Lastly, I included the jade necklace because jade is a valuable stone in some cultures, especially in Chinese culture. I felt like all these 3 objects reflected my culture and showed some insight into it. While doing this project, I was able to reflect on my own identity, and I learned more about other people's cultures. It was really fun to see everyone's end product and how they collage their photos. Media Makers has helped me become better at design thinking. I think that I improved a lot in Photoshop, and I now know how to use more Photoshop tools. I'll never forget the memories I made in this program and the activities we did together as a group. I'll also be proud of all of the improvement I've shown in the projects and all the work I created. And now I'll pass it to Mayan.
Thank you, Betty. Hello, everyone. My name is Mayan Tran. I'm a rising senior at Boston Latin School, and I'm a returning intern to the Media Makers program. I decided to come back not only because Manda and Maddie's personalities were incredibly addicting, but so were the engaging projects that I got to work on. And this summer, I really wanted to build upon the graphic design and photography skills that I had gained from the previous cycle and really step outside of what I was comfortable with to further myself as an artist. So this portion of the photography course focused on the use of DSLR cameras and street photography. And over the course of these workshops, we were able to become more familiar and comfortable with the different functions of the camera, such as learning to shoot with our own manual settings. And for me personally, it was really getting outside and working with external factors like the weather and conditions of the locations that I was at, that I found myself really able to utilize these skills and be mindful about my composition and space. However, it can be super difficult to get the perfect shot 100% of the time. So we also learned how to color grade our photos in Photoshop and manipulate our work to be the best reflection of ourselves and creative styles. And so once we understood the basics of how to use the camera, we practiced what we learned through activities like the Dear Boston project, where we combine our new DSLR skills with street photography, Photoshop, and the design concepts. And this project was one of my favorites because us interns would capture photos of specific places in our neighborhoods that have impacted us, and then write a short letter addressing our neighborhood and what that location meant to us. So once we took our photos, we had the chance to refine them in Photoshop and add our own personal touch. Afterwards, we designed a page of the digital zine dedicated to that neighborhood, and it would later be compiled into a complete digital magazine called Dear Boston. So for my own personal project, I focused on the neighborhood that I have grown up in, which is Rosendale. And I decided to take these two photos that I really believe highlight the strength of my community. And these were taken during the Saturday Farmers Market in Rosendale Village because I wanted to highlight that community, culture, and familial aspect of my neighborhood. And in the editing process, I wanted to have my color grading match the feel of my photos. So I made sure to highlight the oranges and then give it a warm vintage finish. And I'm not only proud of my own work, but also the work of my fellow interns and co-friends from all over Boston. I really think that we did a wonderful job of capturing the beauty of our neighborhoods and the communities because they're often overlooked, and this project really forced us to see that. And I truly believe that the Dear Boston digital zine, which Amanda so cohesively compiled together, by the way, reflects the creative drive and passion that this group has. So this cycle has given me yet another chance to grow and push myself creatively. And now I can say that I have the confidence to call myself an artist without writhing in pain. I will forever be grateful for the opportunity to create my mini portfolio. And I will definitely never forget the skills that Amanda and Maddie have given me, not only in terms of the multimedia arts, but also what it really means to be a young person in this society. So I'm gonna miss all of the fun tangents that we go through every day, which made this summer one of my best. And this program would not have been half of what it is without the people that make it up. So I would like to thank everyone for making this summer a special one. Despite being virtual, we have successfully created a space that makes work exciting and hilarious, and also one that is eager to make a difference. So it's been real, everyone. And on that note, I will pass it off to Cheyenne.
Thank you, Maya. Hello, everyone. My name is Cheyenne Henry. I am a rising junior at John D. O'Brien and a member of the Media Makers program. I joined Media Makers because I thought it would be a fun learning experience. But as it came to an end, I realized that it has exceeded my expectations. In our social media strategies course, we learned about the basics of messaging campaigns and how people make a difference online. We used this to help us further understand how powerful social media can be and how it can be used to entice change in our communities and even around the world. The main concept learned were things like how to design an aesthetic for a page or what strategies people use to make their posts more visible to the public. We went about learning these things by looking at examples of social justice Instagram pages and how they consistently apply their concepts and styles in their posts. I really enjoyed how aesthetically pleasing and consistent these posts were, and how they managed to make their voices heard in order to make a change. In the Change Creator project, our intent was to create a 3-slide Instagram carousel post design of a social justice advocate who use their voice to make a positive change in or an impact on their communities. We each chose someone conducted research on that person. Some of the people highlighted were Yuji Ichioka, George Helm Jr., Chadwick Boseman, and Winter Brienne. The purpose of this project was not only to teach us the power of social media in addressing issues in our community, but it was also a lesson about how to become aware or an active member in advocating for change. For my project, I chose to highlight Sean King, a Black Lives Matter activist, because his story stood out the most to me. He was biracial, and as such, many of his stories were leading off of that topic. What makes his story unique was that while advocating for change to help the Black community, he also received a lot of backlash for being biracial. One of the most memorable criticism that he had was that people believe he lied about being severely injured by some bullies in high school for being half Black, even though the critiques were proven otherwise. All in all, one of the main takeaways I had from him was that no matter what, you should always pursue your dreams and aspirations. I used many colors to create my project because I think that they represented the aesthetic of this person the most. Apart from this project, and in a more general sense, I think that Media Makers has taught me a lot, not only about how to do graphic design, but also about myself. At first, I did not expect to learn so much about how to be involved in my community or the thought process behind designs we see every day. But after these past few weeks, I look at things differently and want to learn more about the world around. These strategies may help me in the future to become a better designer in whatever career I choose to do. I will never forget the projects we did that elicited us to think about where we came from. I will try to never forget the way to Media Maker's office building. I will now pass it to V.
Hello, everyone. My name is V. Oh, and thank you, Shaya. Hello, everyone. My name is V, and I'm going to be a senior at Boston Latin School. As someone who's always been interested in graphic design, I joined Media Makers to learn more about the programs and skills needed to create digital media. Before joining the program, I had no expectations whatsoever, but then now that the program is finally ending, I've come to realize that everything has completely exceeded my expectations. In one of our recent projects, the social media campaign project, it required us to work in pairs to create an Instagram page dedicated to spreading awareness about a chosen social justice issue. In part one of this project, we brainstormed different subtopics, color themes, design skills, and social media campaigning strategies to include on our Instagram page. In doing this, not only did we design a mock-up of an Instagram profile page, but we also learned how to effectively spread news in a visually appealing way. For my own social media campaign project, my partner Amy and I decided on creating an organization dedicated to spreading awareness about endangered wildlife. Since we both spend a good amount of time on social media, it was pretty easy for us to come up with different design and campaigning strategies to incorporate into our own Instagram profile mockup page. Once we laid out all the basic design components we wanted to include, we split up to work on different parts of our final product, and we kept collaborating to make sure that our themes stayed consistent. From doing this project, I learned how real companies and organizations promoted their causes to the public and how to collaborate well with my partner. Overall, Media Makers has helped me grow an immeasurable amount, both as a graphic designer and as a person. I've learned countless new skills and tricks of Photoshop, met incredible people to work with, and created many works that I'm very proud of. This summer has been so resourceful, and it also wouldn't have been this enjoyable without the other interns and our mentors, Amanda and Maddie. And now I shall pass it off to Brian.
Thank you, V. Hello, I'm Brian. I'm a 16-year-old rising 11th grader at Boston Green Academy. I'm a person you can call outgoing most of the time, but also a cool and calm type of person. Throughout my end of the school year, I was debating on what I wanted to do for the summer. What would keep me occupied, but at the same time let me have fun? At the time, I thought an internship would fit me best. And when my PIC counselor recommended me to go to CSTO Media Maker, and at first, I didn't know anything about them until I went to their page and read their about me. And on their page, I knew that would be a perfect fit for me. I decided to take the next steps into getting in and was able to be a part of the team. Throughout our cycle, we were given a very interesting project, and one of them was called the social media campaign. We began this project by creating an IG mock page that V just discussed earlier on, and we were moving on to creating an IG carousel. You might be wondering, what is an IG carousel? An Instagram carousel is a post with multiple photos or videos that can be viewed by swiping or clicking left. The goal of this project was to highlight a social justice movement or cause that we wanted to show on our Instagram page. Me and my partner, Mayon, created a mock IG beforehand, which we called Food for Thought. Our idea was we wanted to raise awareness about hunger and food insecurity in America. Not only that, but the organizations that work to battle it. My partner and I decided to pick a few colors that would stand out to people that would be viewing our projects. And because of that, we decided to pick colors such as orange, beige, and green. Throughout this process, I'm going to say Mayon is such a great partner, and you would like to have by your side when working. Since it is her second cycle here, Shirley has an understanding of projects such as this. I want to say thank you, Mayon, for helping me and guiding me throughout this project. I would also like to say that I'm very glad that we were paired up as partners. At the end of the day, I started to realize what I wanted people to take away from this. And I wanted them to notice things that aren't highlighted every day. And I would consider this to be one of them. Through my summer cycle, I would say there was light every day. There wasn't a day where it felt gloomy or dark. I wasn't expected to learn what I learned or even get to have the friendships that I have. I wanted to say throughout my summer cycle, I could call the people around me friends. We all came here as strangers, some of us not knowing each other, but we were willing to learn about each other and overall just have fun. I would like to thank all my coworkers and also point out one main thing about this. And that would be the way that Maddie and Amanda has helped us every day in workshops and after hours. Really shows you how committed they are to help and teach younger kids like all of us. Because of their teaching, I'm going to say I'll never forget this experience. And also, every project activity that we had was an accomplishment that I'm going to write down in my book and say I'm proud of. Now I'm going to be passing it to Tamar.
Thank you, Brian. Hello, everyone. My name is Tamar Dorvelis, and I am a rising senior at Boston Latin School. And I have been with the Media Makers for 2 cycles now. I started working here with little knowledge of what I was truly getting myself into, and now I'll be leaving this cycle with amazing memories and true connections. The graphic design and design thinking course was very interesting because it taught us about the logistics that goes behind creating art. From the clothing design and messaging workshop, we not only learned how to use Photoshop and appliances such as the pen tool using our drawing tablets, but we also learned how designers take into consideration color, location, size, font, and much more when it comes to the clothing piece they create. We also learned that there are countless ways people can express themselves through clothing and through their styles and the messages that they wear on their clothes. The merch project was based off the theme solidarity, and we were given the challenge to create a clothing item that falls along that theme. For my design, I wanted to make it about the steps we take in order to reach solidarity, hence why the letters in the center are stepping stones. This shows that solidarity can't be reached in one jump and that we have to take the steps to reach it. I added in some greenery and wildlife to make it look as if these stepping stones are in a koi pond and to add more color. After a lot of work with a pen tool, paintbrush, and different hardnesses and opacities, this is what I was able to create, and I couldn't be more proud. Looking back at the quick 6 weeks we spent together this summer, I'm amazed at how Amanda and Maddie are always able to make such wonderful communities and fun projects that actually teach us something. This cycle has pushed me to become better and create things that are next level, and I couldn't be more proud of what I was able to do. I will now pass the mic to Charles.
Thank you, Tamar. Hello, my name is Charles. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am a rising sophomore at Boston Arts Academy. I joined the Media Makers program because when I first saw the program, it mentioned doing projects on Photoshop and doing projects that involve visual art. And since I'm a visual artist, I thought it would be something I could try out. Also, I wanted to do memes. I remember the brain stretch activities we did. Those were some of my favorite activities. Amanda provided us with different brain stretch or blank canvas with random squiggly lines each time, and we would make something from it. Honestly, it took me a while to decide on what to draw from these lines, but I had fun thinking about what to make. These activities helped me practice creative thinking and helped me get more comfortable with the paintbrush tool. In other brain stretches, we were only given a squiggly line, but in this brain stretch, we were asked to create a cow. When I made my cow, I ran into a couple challenges, like accidentally outlining the cow in white and it would blend in with the white background, or forgetting a new layer over the picture that I already uploaded. I managed to get the hang of it though, and I'm especially proud of how I got the details right. In the ICA virtual field trip was a guest speaker, Betsy Gibbons from the ICA, telling us about Virgil Abloh and his exhibit at the ICA. Virgil Abloh is the artistic director for Louis Vuitton and the CEO and founder of luxury brand Off-White, as well as having close ties to the rapper, designer, Kanye West, and famous artist Murakami. Betsy gave us a tour of the whole exhibition, but focused on a few specific pieces, which are the skateboard park, the sneaker wall, and his clothing designs from Off-White. My favorite piece was a skateboard ramp. I found it interesting, and it was cool to see something that I enjoy, skateboarding, being displayed inside a museum. It was cool to see something that didn't seem like it belonged in the museum to be displayed in such an elegant way. We were explained that even plastic cups, that even the plastic cups were thrown around actually intentional and heavy sculptures purposely placed. He does a lot of street style art that is not normally celebrated in the way it is being. You would normally see these regular objects, skateboard rims, cups, shoes, etc., in someone's house or neighborhood. So to see it in a museum is very cool. We have the opportunity to see the exhibition in person next Wednesday, and most of the interns are going as a group. Unfortunately, I cannot attend, but I cannot wait to see the pictures in our WhatsApp group chat. The things that I have learned this summer while being in the Media Makers program is how to Photoshop, how to use cameras better, and it has taught me new ways on how to think about things. I am especially proud of my ability to now make digital art with Photoshop. I had a hard time because of a lot of its features confused me. It was a new program that I haven't used before, but in the end I managed to find my way around it. And once I got the hang of it, it was actually kind of fun. My final projects were probably my favorite final projects were probably the collaborative mural and the solidarity merch. I enjoyed having to sketch out my ideas for the merch, and I enjoyed seeing how the mural turned out in the end. And now I will pass it on to Angelique.
Thank you, Charles. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Angelique. I'm 15 and a rising sophomore at John D. O'Brien, and I'm a new intern to the Media Makers program. I joined the program with the goal to learn more about photography and the media aspect, as well as to sharpen my skills with Photoshop and to meet new people. I heard about the program from a school counselor who thought it would be a good fit for me, and it was. The exploration of community course included the exploration of social and political movements that affect the communities our young people take part in. The main concept that I took away from this course was that often people come together and use art to display their stances on both political and social movements. This course taught us about the idea of community-centered thinking, which focuses on community building and centering the voices within communities that often go unheard. An activity we did to practice these concepts was that we got into groups and planned a community day and designed a flyer for it. I really enjoyed using Photoshop to formulate my flyer, and it was really satisfying to see it once I had finished. The Unity Flyer project was for our groups to plan a community day to bring people together. Then we would proceed to design a flyer for the event. When creating my flyer, I practiced my color contrast skills to make different aspects of the flyer stand out. My group thought it would be an attention grabber if we had our event be a fair where different cultures could have their chances to shine and be seen from multiple different perspectives. So my flyer had a picture of an illuminated fair in the night, and I believe this will bring the community together. Lastly, the Media Makers program had helped me grow this year in my artistic ways and has granted me a new way to make art other than just the traditional way this summer. An accomplishment that makes me very proud is that I was able to finish my projects 99% all on my own and that I was always on time. I am also very proud of myself for now being more maneuverable on Photoshop and other places such as Photopea and Canva. Something from the cycle that I will never forget is how welcoming everyone is, especially Amanda and Maddie. And I want to give them, as well as my fellow peers, a large thank you. And now I'd like to pass it to Angela.
Thank you, Angelique. My name is Angela, and I'm a rising college freshman that loves drawing digitally. I joined Media Makers to learn more about Photoshop and its applications, as well as to learn about ways to become immersed in my community. Additionally, I applied for this program in hopes of meeting other people passionate about graphic design. For our program, one of our guest speakers was Panapa Prakamukul. Panapa is an Asian artist from Thailand who majorly focuses on painting and architectural works. Through her work, she aims to connect the community by highlighting the history of those in the area, as well as the wide variety of cultures surrounding it. Moreover, as she always studies the environment beforehand, her incorporation of the many components that make up the community allows for everyone to see the area in a new light. Panapa's mural in Boston's Chinatown called Where We Belong consists of a dragon, multiple different types of traditional noodles, and a vast amount of details that hold cultural significance to the Chinese community. This piece was inspired by the legacy of the Whole Toy Noodle Company, on which it is painted on, and the growing process of gentrification in Chinatown. I believe the most interesting part of her process was how she utilized the company's own reviews and insights from the community to draw inspiration for her piece. Thus, as passersby wander through that same walkway now, I hope the residents within Chinatown realize the amount of cultural and communal significance represented by Ponapa's mural. Finally, Media Makers has helped me grow to become less anxious about sharing my opinions and working in group projects. I've also become more comfortable with using unfamiliar softwares and venturing into my community. Meeting other interns as well as befriending them as we discussed our group projects have been some of my favorite memories. Overall, I believe that by encountering the diverse personalities in this program, I will never forget my experiences in Media Makers. I will now pass it to Sophia.
Yeah. Thank you, Angela. Hello, my name is Sophia, and I am a student at Boston Latin School. I joined Media Makers because I love the idea of using art and design to send a powerful message, and I was very interested in trying Photoshop because, one, I've never tried it before, and most of my friends use Photoshop to create and design pieces, and I thought it'd be fun learning how. Earlier this cycle, we attended an outdoor field trip led by guest speaker Pro Black. He is a visual artist who specializes in graffiti and mural art. Pro Black grew up in Roxbury during the hip-hop golden age. There he saw the power of graffiti as a form of self-expression. As he stated on his website, graffiti is a way to immortalize and appreciate underserved culture in a community. And even though it was very hot, I thought the field trip was super cool. We went to Madison Park High School and walked around the campus looking at all the beautiful murals on its exterior. One of the pieces we learned about was something Pro Black made for his friend who recently passed away. He told us about the hardships he went through to make it since the weather was not ideal, but he was glad to do it because it meant something to immortalize his friend's legacy in the form of a mural. I would like Madison Park High School students to feel inspired and appreciated when they see the murals on their campus because it shows artists standing in solidarity to support the marginalized youth in the community. I learned that it's often difficult to make public art because of the weather conditions, and also I learned about the level of teamwork that goes into making murals. Sometimes things don't work out or they don't look the way you want it to. But nonetheless, it is an amazing experience, and Pro Black has expressed much appreciation and passion for what he does for a living. Media Makers, as well as this field trip, has helped me grow in my creative, out-of-the-box thinking when it comes to art. I'm extremely proud of my Photoshop improvement upon these weeks at this internship. When I first started traditional art, I would only draw what was within my realm of knowledge or expertise. I was afraid that if I tried anything else, it would not look how I wanted it to, even if it was something I really wanted to try. Media Makers has inspired me to try at least one new thing every week and to not be so hard on myself when art is a way to express what you're thinking and feeling at that moment. Also, I just wanted to say that everyone is amazing and I had so much at this internship. Thank you for listening, and I'll pass it to Alan.
Thank you, Sophia. Hello, everyone. My name is Alan. I'm a rising college freshman and a returning intern at Media Makers. I chose to join for a second cycle because I enjoyed the welcoming company from my fellow interns, as well as building my skills and knowledge in graphic design and digital arts. As someone who is fascinated by large wall murals, I was captivated by our guest speakers, Panapa and pro-Black stories and professional journeys. I learned about all of the hard work that goes into mural projects and the vast amount of passion there is in the mural art scene. The collaborative mural project was a way for all of the interns to collaborate on one large piece that showcased each of our unique and creative stories. The theme of our mural was solidarity, the unity of shared interests, objectives, and sympathies. We worked together to brainstorm ideas for ways we could add a piece of our identities onto one large canvas. The members of Group 1 each individually worked on a separate piece of the mural that tied to our favorite foods and later arranged them into one cohesive bento lunchbox. We wanted to highlight the beauty of our ethnic cultures through foods, as we all had a shared love for our cultural dishes. I chose to digitally illustrate a notorious dish from the Dominican Republic called mango, which mainly consists of mashed plantains, fried salami, eggs, cheese, and onions. When designing, I used the pen tool to draw all of the main shapes, then went back in with the brush tool to add more detail by shading. This dish can be had at any time of the day and is one of my all-time favorites. Some of the other dishes highlighted are fish rolls, mac and cheese, wonton soup, and more. I think if it was up to me, I'd like to put this piece somewhere in the back bay where many people go to eat. I think that this location would be fitting. As I can now confidently navigate through Adobe Photoshop and properly use a DSLR camera, I must say I've grown a lot through this internship. I will never forget the amazing people I've met through CSCO and the many accomplishments I've made. All in all, this has been another great experience with Media Makers, and I will now be passing it on to Victoria.
Thank you for your speech, Alan. Hi, I'm Victoria Lai, and currently I'm a freshman in college. I wanted to become a part of the Media Makers program because I wanted to learn how I could develop more of my skills to both convey and communicate a clear message I'm truly passionate about through my own art in order to share the voices of others. As Sophia mentioned earlier, muralist pro-Blacks work highlights the communities in Boston, and I learned that murals are a way to bring the community together from all parts of Boston, but even beyond that too. We got the chance to create our own mural by collaborating with other interns. We split up into 2 groups and designed a digital mural that celebrates the diverse communities across Boston. I had the opportunity to lead the group visioning conversations with my fellow intern, Tamar. It was an amazing experience getting to work on such a collaborative project because everyone brought great ideas to the table and then showcased them through their own illustrations. One of the biggest challenges I felt that I faced was leading a group of people towards a larger vision. But I found that over time, as I kept communicating with my group members and hearing their ideas, I felt more comfortable in the space and leading the group. Seeing how supportive people were of each other's ideas helped me realize that people in this space are not here to judge, but to really lift up one another. For our collaborative mural project, our group represented the diversity in Boston through the MBTA train stations. The stations we decided to highlight were Ashmont, Fields Corner, Park Street, Downtown Crossing, Chinatown, Nubian, Logan Airport, Harvard Ave, Forest Hills, and Mattapan. One of the mural pieces created by Nancy was a building showcasing a mural that says Field Corner in a blue cursive font. This mural is near a local Vietnamese restaurant, and I always see it whenever I go there. Another mural piece was created by Amy, who illustrated the Chinatown gate when you enter in the Chinatown community filled with all kinds of Chinese food places to eat at, and even other kinds of Asian foods, such as Vietnamese, Korean, Japanese, and Malaysian. Many diverse kinds of people come to the city of Boston, so for my mural piece, I showcased Logan Airport through drawing the Boston city skyline with an airplane flying overhead. The theme of our group's mural is to show that even though Boston has many diverse kinds of people here, all the train lines connect these places and are what make it such a close-knit community. The colorful hands interlocking in the background showed that the diverse community of Boston is here to support one another. By giving the appearance of a physical paper map, it can draw a closer connection to the viewer since hands are used to make contact with one. We are here to stand in solidarity and lift each other up. If I could put this mural anywhere, I would put it right at the heart of Boston and downtown because it's such a large community of people living here. And so many also come to visit, to eat, to hang out, and to spend time with each other. Throughout this program, I feel like I really got the chance to hone the skills to communicate a message through my own art, but also connect with all the people I met in this program, especially my mentors, Amanda and Maddie, who have made this experience much more enjoyable, fun, and making great memories I will always dearly treasure close to my heart. On that note, thank you, and I'll now pass it on to Nancy.
Thank you, Victoria. Hello, my name is Nancy Yen, and I am a rising senior at Boston Latin School. I joined Media Makers because I wanted to learn more about graphic design, Photoshop, photography, and just get better at art in general. I'm actually taking graphic design next school year, so after the completion of Media Makers, I feel more confident in my ability to use Photoshop and put my newly learned skills to good use. During the program, in addition to learning about the arts, we also learned about important life skills during various youth development workshops. We actually had a financial literacy workshop to teach youth important life skills to use not only during school, but also after in the real world when they start working as well. The goal was to make us more aware of our spending habits and teach us about saving money and how to protect ourselves against fraud when using debit or credit cards. I actually got a debit card this year, so to me, this workshop was extremely useful. I learned more about being careful with debit cards, especially with private ATMs and gas stations. Before, I didn't think to be cautious around those places, but now I know to be more careful, especially since teens are so young and less experienced compared to adults when it comes to anything financial related. This workshop gave us a better understanding of handling the inevitable ups and downs of our financial lives by learning how to prevent and manage issues like this. In addition, we also had a resume building workshop where we learned the starting steps of how to make a resume, what to include and what not to include, and useful tips to succeed when applying to colleges, jobs, and more. I already had a resume before the workshop, but I learned a few more things and was able to revise it afterwards. The key point I learned was when you're describing what you did at previous jobs, it's best to use strong verbs and numbers to really emphasize everything and get your point across. And that's a good thing to take note of because when people are reading your resumes, they only skim through it to look for key information. So that makes you stand out more. I mentioned this before, but Media Makers has definitely helped me get better at using Photoshop and just designing in general. I learned to make use of all the tools and functions on Photoshop. And not only that, the workshop we did were really helpful and gave me good tips to not only become a better student, but a better person as well. Especially when it comes to managing my time, managing my money, and being productive. Something from this program that I'll never forget is the people I've met and the friendships I made. Before this program, I knew only 2 people, but over time, I had the chance to talk to more people, especially on field trips and group activities. Overall, I really enjoyed my experience working here, and I had an amazing summer with all these people. And now I'll pass it to Abire.
Thank you, Nancy. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abira Chukwu, and I'm a rising senior at Boston Latin School. I joined the Media Makers program to put practice on and share my interest in graphic arts and media editing, but I got so much more out of participating. The After Hours program is an addition to the CSTO programs that requires every intern to attend at least 2 informational workshops or presentations. These workshops included topics such as mental health, financial literacy, professional development, and community building. It's important to participate in workshops like these because they provide opportunities to learn about important things that may not be taught in school or elsewhere. The first workshop I attended was Mental Health 102. In this workshop, we learned about relationships between people, holding power over others, power others have over us, and clear communication. From this workshop, I learned that it's important to realize what type of relationship you're in, what you're getting, what you're giving, whether or not it's healthy, and how to address conflict. The second workshop I participated in was the basics of investing. In this workshop, we learned about investing money, whether it be in a retirement account or personal. This workshop taught me to think about money differently. Instead of saving and spending alone, we can put it somewhere where it can grow. Something I'll practice in the future because of this workshop is doing deep research on the stock market and its history and looking carefully into stocks before investing. I knew that participating in the Media Makers program would help me develop new skills in digital media production. And this summer, I obtained that and more. With the addition of the After Hours program, I also learned life skills that people my age need to know before becoming adults, but isn't prioritized in school. And because of this, I'm leaving this summer with more confidence in how to handle my personal life. Now I'll pass it on to Marvin.
Thank you so much, Barry, for that wonderful message. Hello, everyone. My name is Marvin Valenzuela, and I'm going to be a college freshman this fall. I joined Media Makers because I wanted to strengthen my skills using Photoshop and a DSLR camera. Media Makers has made me become a person who is more confident now and who likes to share out. With the help of Media Makers, I now have a different mindset. I realize that I am more open to new ideas and goals that people honestly recommend to you. The skills that I have definitely improved on would have to be my Photoshop skills. I know what certain tools mean and how to use them. They include the shape tool, pen tool, and object selection tool. Media Makers have definitely shaped my life for the better. I learned to be more confident with my voice and my opinions. I have also learned how diverse the world really is. Not only is it culturally diverse, but people have different views and opinions on certain topics. My most memorable project from this cycle would definitely have to be the Dear Boston project. I absolutely love taking pictures of my neighborhood, which is Dorchester, and also editing the photos. I made sure to edit my photos on Camera Raw, which is a feature in Photoshop to edit pictures with different effects and color. Not only do I have more experience with Photoshop and photography, I also have more experience with expressing myself and being creative in my own way. Therefore, my biggest and most special accomplishment would definitely have to be sharing my pieces to my interns. I also had a lot of fun with my interns as well. We would crack jokes with each other and we would listen to music and we just have a blast. I feel like I've become more comfortable and confident around them. This cycle has truly made a difference in my life. Not only have I gained more artistic experiences, but I've also improved my communication skills. I do have to say that the old Marvin would always be afraid to ask questions or to even give compliments. But I feel like Media Makers has made me grow and come out of my shell. Media Makers is definitely a program that should exist for eternity and people should definitely join. No matter what, you will learn and grow not only as an artist, but also as an individual who wants to make a change. And I appreciate you all, and I'll pass it on to Maddie.
Wow. Well, thank you, Marvin, and congratulations to all of our interns in our summer 2021 program. It has been such an honor to work with these young people who have spent the past 6 weeks learning about new topics, some of which they do not get to learn about in school, and to dive really deeply into them and find what they're passionate about and find ways to anchor that back to our community. I've had the honor of working here for the past 6 years, and I have to say that some of these, like this summer has been one of the most amazing summers of my time. I really appreciate all of the hard work that our young people bring to the table every single day. It is not easy to still be doing things virtually, and it's not easy to just be vulnerable and get to know people and to work this hard, especially during a global pandemic. So definitely from me and Amanda, I want to say thank you and congratulations to all of our media makers. You have made our summer amazing, and we are so proud of the work that you get to do or that you created here. We will definitely be, sharing their infographics with our community, printing and hanging our 2 murals, and I hope that everyone will check out our digital zine, Dear Boston, which I know I dropped in the chat a little bit earlier. I do want to highlight and say thank you to Amanda. Amanda works tirelessly with our young people, creating some of the best presentations ever, and really brings her energy to this space every day. So, this program would not be what it is without Amanda. And lastly, I want to say thank you to everyone who's in the room here to support, including CSTO. We would not be able to host this program and connect with these young people if CSTO was not there. to support young people and invest in their futures. And everyone is in the room today because you either are invested in a young person here or believe in the programming we're doing. And I appreciate that. And I look forward to working with you guys to make Boston a better place for our young people. And I think that starts with being connected. So thank you to all our young people again. And I want to give a special shout out as we do have 4 young people who are entering college. So I want to say congratulations to Amy, to Angela, to Marvin, and to Alan. This is our second time celebrating Alan, which is exciting, but Amy, Angela, and Marvin are new interns with us, and we've just had such a great time getting to know everyone. We cannot wait to see where all 4 of you guys end up in your life, in the world that you build, and the changes that you make to this community. So congratulations. All of us, all the media makers will be cheering you on in the fall, which is right around the corner. So I did just want to hold space for a moment, and I know the chat is going wild, but if anyone has any questions or comments for our young people, we're going to do superlatives in a little bit, but now is a great time to ask any of those questions or comments. Great. Well, I'm so appreciative of everyone being with us today. I do want to give another special shout out to Mayan, V, Angelique, Brandon, and Cheyenne. They finished their projects really, really fast and actually built this entire presentation that you're seeing. So thank you guys for doing that and making it so wonderful. Folks are definitely welcome to stay, but for this next little bit, we are going to be doing superlatives that our young people voted on. To see who's the most likely to become what. So once again, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for supporting the Media Makers program, and thank you for investing in these young people's future. That's all for me.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, thank you, Maddie, and thank you everyone again for joining. Definitely, yes, we love the comments in the chat. Super proud of our interns. They did amazing. So we'll give folks a second if they want to leave any more comments or just say their goodbyes and hop out, because we are, again, going to do superlatives. But again, you're welcome to stay and see what our interns did. But thank you guys for joining. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us. Cool. Awesome. All right. So I guess that means everyone is very curious to see what our superlatives are. So I will go ahead and share my screen one more time. Me and Matt, you want to like alternate between folks? All right, so starting off our first superlative, I realize I did this a little out of order, but it's okay. But most likely to make you laugh, it is none other than Enzo. So congrats, Enzo, take that with pride. Absolutely deserve that.
Woo! Awesome. And up next, our most likely to have a hidden talent would be none other than Betty. Awesome. Congratulations, Betty.
Yes, I'm waiting to see what that hidden talent is, Betty. Very nice, very nice. All right, the next person we got, oh my God, kind of funny I'm reading this one. Most likely to hype you up. You guys voted for me, so thank you so much. I will take that with a lot of grace. How to use the photo where it made me look taller than Brian. Cool. Maddie, next one.
Awesome. And our most likely to say something thoughtful and get us thinking would be a Barry.
Great photo, by the way, Barry. Just such grace. Definitely works with your superlative. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes, of course. All right, next up we got most likely to have a booming Etsy store. So Nancy, I'm ready to throw my money at you. Let me know, send me the link. Great art that you got. Maddie.
And by far one of our funniest interns here, our most likely to win in a fun battle would be V.
Very well deserved. I had a feeling V might have slipped herself a vote there as well, but yes, definitely would win. Cool. The next intern we got up, most likely to change the world, none other than Cheyenne, always so thoughtful, saying some great stuff. Can't wait to see what you do.
Awesome. And next up, we have most likely to travel the world, and it will be our jet setter, Marvin, who hopefully can teach us some more. You can travel around the world and learn more beatboxing.
Honestly, I think,
International.
heck yeah, I think Marvin might also have hidden talents that we don't yet know about. But yes, Marvin, our jet setter. Our next intern, we got to double up on this one, but most introverted turned extroverted, and also a really cool write-in, most likely to spend some money on video games, none other than Amy. Take that with pride. Such cool superlatives, very nice.
And I don't think this will come of any surprise to folks in the room, but the person voted most likely to have their work hanging in the ICA would be Victoria.
Absolutely not us going to the ICA next week. We might be printing some things and bring it inside. But just kidding, just kidding. Very nice. Congrats, Victoria. Next up, we got most likely to win a dance battle, none other than Brian.
What?
We're ready to see the moves next Wednesday.
Okay, I'll bring it.
Brian is always up for a challenge, which I appreciate. Awesome. Next up is most likely to design a clothing line. And of course, that's the ever so fashionable Alan.
Yes, we're also ready to throw our money at Alan once he starts designing clothes. But next up, we got most likely to become the Photoshop expert. So yes, Angela will probably be taking over workshops from now. We can go to Angela for any Photoshop tips.
And this intern is going to take the tech world by storm. Our most likely to become a tech CEO would be Brandon.
Very well deserved, Brandon. Can't wait to see you in that CEO title. And one of my personal favorites, I gotta say, most likely to give off tall energy are none other than Mayan. You know, sweeping the board, definitely took this one by storm. Well deserved.
Mayan is actually 7 feet tall in real life. It's quite impressive. So our most likely to become a superhero would be none other than Charles, who one day when picking up his equipment came in decked out in a Marvel t-shirt, a Batman mask, I think, or something, and Avenger socks. It was very impressive. Complete superheroes head to toe. So we love that energy.
Yes, always great energy by Charles. Next up, we got most likely to brighten up your day. Definitely Angelique, always so happy in workshop. Gotta love hearing from Angelique.
And although you won't be able to vote for them in this upcoming 2021 mayoral election, the most likely to become mayor of our city is Tamar. Look at that boss pose.
Well deserved. That is Tamar's running poster right there when she campaigns. I love it. Cool. But next up, we got most likely to be an art IG influencer. Very well deserved, Sophia. I'm ready to follow you on IG. Such cool work you got.
Oh my God, thank you.
Manifest, manifest.
Awesome, and kind of funny how this PowerPoint worked out. The most likely to give the best advice would be me. I guess I have a lot to say, guys. Awesome. So that concludes our presentation, our superlatives. Once again, it has been such an honor and a joy to work with these young people who have brightened my day every single day. And I think that you guys are going to become some amazing people, as you're already so awesome. So from Amanda, me, and the Media Makers, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for joining, everyone. Thank you for the nice comments in the chat. Definitely stop sharing my screen for a second. But yes, big thank you again for spending your afternoon with us. Cool. So we're gonna stick with our interns for a couple more minutes before we break for lunch. But again, thank you guys for coming. Super appreciate all the energy and hope you have a great rest of the afternoon.